Hello and welcome back to Jet2 Guy. Today we're looking at gliding in P3D. So, the actual glider's physics is not what you'd expect in the simulator. They're quite low quality and you can basically do every turn without the rudder, which if you're going from the simulator to real life, it's really gonna mess with your kind of brain, because in the sim you're not using any rudder, and in real life you have to use rudder all the time to do the turns, and yeah, you basically got your feet on the rudder the whole time. It's making minor corrections and stuff. So the physics is not that bad. However, what it can provide is a reasonably good way to actually practice circuits and get an idea of the glider cockpit, the layout, and how to do basic maneuvers, even though you're not using the rudder. Uh, if in doubt, if you're learning gliding, like I am, go buy Condor 2. I'm going to be getting it a couple of weeks from now. Uh, I know it's a really good product, and lots of the people down at my gliding club do use it. So yeah, Condor 2 is the one you want to go for if you're looking for a very high quality and very physics high quality based product. So if I hop in the actual aircraft here, this is a K21. I think it's a German aircraft, and if we take a look at the cockpit, well, we have got our instruments. So one on the left here is our airspeed indicator in knots, and that little yellow triangle here simulates our stalling speed. So if we drop below that, not stalling speed, our minimum approach speed. So we have to be on that, we have to have a speed at that yellow triangle, which is about 52 knots, to commit a safe landing. So we have to have that on approach basically. Here we have our vario, and that tells us if we're gaining or losing height in thermic conditions, ridge lift, wave, stuff like that. Here's an electronic vario. Down here we have a basically you can track your flights. I've never used it before, but I know you can do that. Down here with our radio. Up here we have our it tells you if we're banking or not. I don't know why you'd really need that. It's not like we're flying in IFR. We're going to be always flying in VFR conditions. I don't know, maybe get stuck in a cloud, but that'd be unlikely. ASK21, what's that? I think is that another vario. Right, so we've got 3 varios. Great. And here we have our altimeter with our what is that? HPA. So that tells you our pressure on the ground. So you just press B to set that. And here we have our wind direction, so you can configure that in the sim. And there's a little few add-ons you can get for gliding. You get Cumulus X, which simulates lift and thermals. I've actually got that installed. It's free. And you get Winch X, which simulates winches for P3D V4. It says it only works for FSX, but it's fine. The other, instead of instrument, right, so we've done all the instruments, and look at our controls. So our stick here controls, I know it's buggy because that's just FSU's PC delayed. This controls the elevator and the ailerons, and yeah. So if I look out to the left here, if I move it to the left, can you see that? No, you can't. If I move the bar, no, you know what, that's no point. Show you later. To the left here, that blue stick, that's our blue handle, that's our air brakes. So they're similar to spoilers, however, they are much more effective in a glider. So they're basically used to slow down the aircraft and not slow down the aircraft, increase the rate of descent. So the more air brake you have, the faster the rate of descent is, maintaining standard nose attitude. Well, out of here we have our yellow release cable. So you do that to release the cable from either the winch or the aerotow, and that's about, well, however high you want to go. If you need to release on emergency, just release any time, pull off. but when you release, just pull it once, pull it twice, just to check, make sure the cable definitely releases. Then you pull up to standard left turn, in the UK at least. Right, here we have our, what's it called? Radio? Microphone, that's it. So there's this little red button on here. You would hold that down and speak into the radio, which you can set up the frequencies via this panel here. Here we have an air valve, so if the cockpit gets a bit hot, you can just let some air in from outside. Also here we have a window. Can you open it in the sim? No, but you can just open it and release some air in if you want. So we do have the back here. If I just sleep myself back here, it is a two-seater glider, this K21, and this has fewer instruments. It normally has a few more than this, but it's basically the same stuff. Right, moving to the front. Set my view. Right, so let's have a quick drink of water. Yep. So we are going to do just a standard air tow, and normally before I do my takeoff checklists, CB SIFT, CB, but I've already done that off camera. I'll explain that in the air. Right, so what you want to do is stay behind the tug and use the rudder to basically keep in line with the tow. Have your elevator fall back until we get the front nose wheel off the ground. Then we want to balance the aircraft on the main wheel until we're airborne. Now we have aerodynamic control, we're maintaining the aircraft straight behind the tug, and we don't want to get too high or pull the tug's tail off the ground. Okay, we have aerodynamic control now, and we are flying behind the tug. It will just go in a straight line in the simulator. In real life it will do many turns to get to a safe position of release. So here we go now, coming up, and I'm just going to release at 1,000 feet or so. So how am I now? 400 feet? Yeah. So I'm just going to get to 1,000. So you know what? I'm going to turn that radio off, barrier off. Let's pause the simulator here. Vario. How can I turn you off? Is that it? There you go. Vario is now electronic vario. So we still have the manual varios telling us, obviously we're in lift because we're being pulled upwards rapidly. So I'm going to stay behind the tug obviously to about 1,000 feet. I'm just approaching it now, 900 feet, and speed is 1,000 feet. So now I'll do my lookouts, and just quick lookouts because I want to stay behind the tug, and then I'll pull the release cable twice upwards to gain some extra height and pull over to the left. Right, so that red string in the middle, that shows you if you're going straight or not. So it's quite hard to simulate it going left, but if I basically yaw the aircraft to the left, so that means I'm just putting left rudder here without elevator. Basically what I'm going to do is just move, but I'm just kind of going into a slight kind of spiral. The string doesn't move that much, so it's not really that good of an example. Yeah, it's not really a good example, because it's moving without me doing the rudder, which is weird. Anyway, so what we can see here, that's what the string does. It tells you if you, all you need to know is it needs to be in the middle. I will show you more in real life. Hopefully I'm going to do some gliding videos, but not now. I'll show you in real life. I don't know, hopefully this year, maybe next year. Right, so I'm a bit high on a downwind here. Downwind, I don't even know the wind direction, I'll just say it's downwind. And so what I'm going to do, I want to be about 500 feet. So, how high am I now? About 900 feet. So what I'm going to do is just a few small circuits around the airfield. Just a few turns, really. Right, now, CB SIFT, CB, is controls. So check your controls are full and free moving. Ballast, you check the weights of the pilots. Straps, check your straps tight, secure. Instruments, check there's no breakages, no cracks. and the geometer, which is not in here, is set to 0. The flaps, there's no flaps fitted on this aircraft, and trim, you set the trim, which is about just a centimetre above neutral, positive trim. And then you've got canopy, closed unlocks, and air brakes basically working. Yeah. Before you do that, you have an outside check, A, B, C, D, E. So airframe, which basically check there's no cracks. I'm getting a little bit low here, so I'm just going to start lining up. So you have airframe, you have ballast, you can check it again if you want. You have C, A, B, C, C. Controls, so you check the controls working on the outside. Then you have D for dolly if your aircraft has a dolly. And you have your eventualities, which you can walk through as well. All good. Right, so I'm still a little bit high. I'm going quite fast. Pardon me. Right. So, about 16 knots. Still not liking it. I might actually crack open a little bit of air brakes, just slightly. And this is not going to be a standard approach at all. I'm used to landing on grass field, so a small narrow runway is not what I'm used to. So I'm increase the air brakes, increase the attitude of a steep descent. So I want to maintain around just below 60 knots. There we go. This is not a good approach at all. It's really difficult to actually get a good looking approach. There we go. Right, line up, centre line, and flare just before you're above the ground. Hold the aircraft on as long as possible. No, on the ground. Alright. So, yeah, centre the aircraft until the aircraft comes to a stop. And use brakes if you want. There we go. So, that approach is not the best, but it's a rough idea of how steep glider approaches are. So, that was gliding in P3D. Just a very, very basic overview. I plan to do some more videos, not in P3D, in Condor, where I can actually fly and know what I'm expecting as well as, well, I can do landings normally. Yeah, and I do hope to do some real gliding videos down at my club next year, because I'm going solo this summer, hopefully. I'll just be with the GoPro, be able to show you things like adverse yaw, side slipping. Don't know if I can. No, I can't show you spins until I've got an aerobatics license. Yeah, just a few things just around the club, and not necessarily around the club, just around the glider, and basic glider lessons basically. Not anything too professional. So I hope you enjoyed this short video, and I'll see you again soon. Jet 2 guy.